A furniture company just erased $12 billion before lunch. Not over months. Not after a slow decline. In a single trading session, one of the largest retailers on Earth lost 97% of its value, and thousands of employees watched their retirement savings disappear with it. To understand how something this big could collapse this fast, you have to go back to how it was built. Steinhoff started small. A German businessman named Bruno Steinhoff began importing furniture from Eastern Europe in the 1960s, and over the following decades, he grew it into a serious manufacturing and retail operation. But the company's real transformation started in the 1990s and 2000s, when it expanded aggressively into South Africa, then across Europe, then into the UK, and eventually the United States. By the 2010s, Steinhoff wasn't just a furniture company anymore. It owned Conforama in France, Poundland in the UK, Mattress Firm in the US, one of the largest mattress retailers in the country, and dozens of other retail brands across 40 countries. On paper, it looked like one of the fastest-growing retail empires in the world. And the man running that growth story was CEO Markus Jooste. Jooste had built a reputation as a brilliant deal-maker. Under him, Steinhoff didn't just grow. It went on an acquisition spree, buying company after company, and each purchase seemed to push the stock higher. Investors loved the story. Analysts loved the story. For years, almost nobody asked how a furniture retailer was expanding this fast without the debt and cash flow problems that usually come with it. The answer, it turned out, was that a lot of that growth wasn't real. Behind the scenes, Jooste and a small circle of associates, sometimes referred to as the Stellenbosch network, after the South African town where many of them were based, had been running a scheme for over a decade. They created a web of off-book companies, entities that didn't appear on Steinhoff's official financial statements, and used them to conduct fictitious transactions with the parent company. Here's roughly how it worked. Steinhoff would sell assets or business units to these related companies at inflated prices. On paper, that created profit for Steinhoff, but the buyers were often controlled by the same small circle of insiders, and the money to pay for these deals frequently came from Steinhoff itself, funneled back around through loans and other arrangements. It was profit that existed only inside the paperwork, round-tripping cash and assets between entities that were never truly independent, and booking the difference as real earnings. This is what allowed Steinhoff to keep reporting strong growth, even as the underlying business struggled to generate that growth on its own. Every year, the fake profits needed to be a little bigger to keep the story consistent, which meant the scheme had to keep expanding just to avoid being noticed. For years, nobody caught it. Auditors signed off. Investors poured in money. Steinhoff kept acquiring companies, kept expanding, kept telling a growth story that Wall Street loved. Some analysts did raise questions over the years about Steinhoff's complex corporate structure and unusually high profit margins compared to competitors. But the company brushed off the concerns, and the stock kept climbing. But Jooste wasn't done, and it was about to get worse. In December 2017, Steinhoff's own auditors at Deloitte refused to sign off on the company's accounts, flagging serious accounting irregularities they couldn't reconcile. That single refusal was enough. Within hours, the stock started collapsing. Jooste resigned that same day, and in his resignation he admitted to what he called mistakes, a staggering understatement for what investigators would later uncover. By the end of the week, 97% of the company's value was gone, roughly $12 billion, wiped out in 2 trading sessions. The fallout was immediate and brutal. Steinhoff employees who held company stock in their retirement funds watched those savings evaporate. South African pension funds, which had invested heavily in what was considered a blue-chip stock, took massive losses. This wasn't just a story about a company. It was a story that hit ordinary retirees who had no idea their savings were tied to a fraud. An independent investigation by PwC, commissioned by Steinhoff itself, later confirmed the scale of what happened: roughly $6.5 billion in fictitious or irregular transactions over multiple years, executed through a small group of insiders working almost entirely outside the view of the company's formal financial controls. Investigators called it one of the largest and longest-running corporate frauds in history, comparable in scale and complexity to Enron, but stretched out over more than a decade instead of collapsing in a single dramatic year. Steinhoff itself didn't fully disappear. What remained of the company underwent years of debt restructuring, selling off assets to survive, and its most successful subsidiary, the discount retailer Pepco Group, was eventually spun off and now trades as its own separate company, effectively the only piece of the empire that survived intact. Jooste, meanwhile, vanished from public life almost entirely after his resignation. He faced mounting regulatory and criminal investigations in South Africa for years, always seeming just out of reach of formal charges. Then, in March 2024, on the very day South African authorities finally filed fraud and racketeering charges against him, Jooste was found dead at a beach in South Africa, in what authorities ruled a suicide. The case against the man behind one of history's largest corporate frauds ended before it ever reached a courtroom. What makes Steinhoff so unsettling isn't just the size of the number, it's how long it went undetected. More than a decade of fabricated deals, passing through respected auditors, feeding a growth story that pension funds and everyday investors trusted completely. It's a reminder that the most dangerous frauds aren't always the flashiest. Sometimes they're just really, really good spreadsheets. Everything I use to make videos like this, scripts, tools, more stories, linloopsoftware.com. Tomorrow, the bank that hid its losses in a fake reinsurance company for 30 years.